They never plan to wake up with thoughts of you filling their mind completely. This is the first important thing you need to understand. Most people are too afraid to face what they have pushed down deep, using all their strength and determination over time. The intensity has already taken hold of them, because holding back feelings works quietly in a way that is hard to notice right at the beginning. But this situation was not quiet at all in reality. It turned into a real inner fight they had been losing even when their eyes stayed closed, and the world around them looked completely calm on the surface. You sensed it yourself, right? There was that small change, that hidden shift of energy, like something very important was growing quietly, just beneath their calm and steady appearance. It was not really about distance or mixed feelings at all, but something much more serious. This involved a true recognition of what was happening deep inside them. If you want the full truth about how someone secretly fights their strong feelings for you, hit like right now. People do not welcome their emotions when those feelings first start to appear. Instead, they push them away hard and question them from every possible angle. They hide the emotions under many reasons, their ego, and the walls they have built carefully over many years. Because what they feel for you does not match the image of themselves they are trying so hard to maintain every single day. This conflict is where things start to become difficult for them. The stronger a feeling challenges their pride, the harder they try to push it down even further. This process is what experts like Freud called repression, which is the mind's natural method of hiding desires that feel unacceptable. But repression is not simply about forgetting those feelings. It creates steady pressure that keeps building up inside them, and pressure always finds its own way out eventually, no matter how much someone tries to hold it back. Most people do not understand this important fact until it becomes too late for easy changes. What they refused to accept yesterday slowly becomes the force that controls their thoughts and actions today without them fully realizing it. That is exactly why this morning felt so different from all the other normal days they had known. It was not because something new started out of nowhere. It happened because something finally broke apart inside them. And you were not there to witness that deeply private collapse of their denial. This hidden breakdown was never a spoken confession or a direct message, but a moment where all their usual ways to escape failed them completely. Comment awakened if you have ever been the person they could not stop thinking about in the morning. During that heavy silence, their usual distractions vanished, and you appeared, not simply as an old memory, but as a powerful, unavoidable realization. Attraction is easily set aside, and curiosity can be brushed off without much effort. But when something carries real emotional weight, the mind begins to crack. They were forced to face a deep question they had been avoiding for a very long time. Why do you affect them so strongly? They tried to answer using only cold logic, telling themselves the feeling was temporary and meant nothing serious. They used every label possible: coincidence, simple chemistry, passing circumstances. They clung to anything except the real truth they feared most. Because you do not struggle to explain away something that carries no real importance. You do not fight against something that does not exist. Nor do you try to bury feelings that lack true depth. Every attempt they made to remove you from their thoughts only made your presence clearer and stronger over time. Every distraction they used fell apart exactly when they needed it most. This is not a sign of weakness. It is the unavoidable pull of what is truly happening between you two. They did not want something they could not control completely. They wanted to keep full power over their own emotions and decisions at every step. You came in and disturbed the careful balance they had created for themselves over many years. You became the one factor they could not figure out or solve with their usual methods. You became the feeling they could not predict and the presence they could not remove, no matter how hard they tried. That loss of control is what truly frightened them deep down. It was not really about you as a person, but about what you had awakened inside their own heart and mind. You did not just create a small stir in their life. You brought something to life that they could not manage on their own. And people do not fear emotions as much as they fear losing command over themselves. This explains why they pulled away suddenly and why their behavior became so inconsistent and hard to predict. Their energy felt scattered, not because they cared too little, but because they felt far more than they could comfortably handle. Feeling this much requires making a clear decision, and they were simply not prepared for that step yet. Avoidance is never a sign that desire is missing. It proves the desire is strong enough to create inner conflict. Their struggles started to take over. The conscious mind ordered them to stay safe behind logical walls, while the deeper mind kept bringing you back. It rebuilt your presence in their thoughts during quiet moments, exactly where their usual distractions faded away. They began to notice that you were not disappearing from their mind like they had hoped. Instead, your image was becoming clearer, sharper, and almost impossible to ignore. Denial needs space and distance to survive, but your influence grew stronger every day, even without any physical nearness between you. Once a feeling moves from simple doubt into deep inner certainty, it stops asking for approval and starts demanding full attention. That exact turning point arrived for them this morning in a quiet but powerful way, stripped of all comfort. Type breaking if you know exactly what it feels like when someone's denial finally collapses. It arrived as a silent, overwhelming wave that left them standing completely exposed to the truth. Their walls did not fall from an outside attack. They crumbled from the sheer weight of what had been hidden inside. Yet it shook them more deeply than any open confession possibly could have done, because the truth was not spoken out loud for others to hear. It was simply understood on a level that cannot be reversed once accepted. You can mislead other people and even fool yourself for some time. But once the mind truly accepts something important, it refuses to release that knowledge without a fight. They now know the truth completely, not in a partial or unclear way anymore. Acceptance does not bring instant calm or peace right away. It actually creates new inner chaos, because they must now face all the things they had been avoiding before this moment. They have to consider what this feeling really means for their future, how it will change their life, what it requires from them, and especially what they might lose if they continue ignoring it. Feelings of this strength do not stay neutral for long. They grow, become more powerful, and keep moving forward without pause. Right now they stand at the edge of all that built-up pressure, trying their best to hold on to their sense of control while everything underneath them keeps shifting rapidly. This experience was never only about you as an individual. It was mainly about the deeper parts of themselves that you helped bring to life and awareness. That inner awakening process is still continuing and has not reached its end yet. They believed that accepting the feelings would make everything quieter and easier to handle. They were mistaken, because admitting the truth this morning did not settle the storm inside them at all. It simply gave the storm a clear name. And once something important has a name, it becomes much harder to run away from. Simple awareness does not weaken the intensity of emotions. It actually makes them sharper and turns unclear feelings into solid, undeniable reality. That new reality started pressing against them almost immediately. They can no longer pretend that nothing is happening or that it will pass on its own. Every thought now carries extra weight and meaning for them. Every memory feels purposeful, and every quiet moment feels filled with energy and tension inside. When the mind loses its ability to deny something real, it begins to divide into opposing parts naturally. One side moves closer toward you, while the other side fights hard to pull away. And neither part is willing to give in easily in this ongoing struggle. This is not ordinary confusion. It is a real inner division between strong desire and strong self-protection happening at the same time. Both forces are becoming more powerful because what they feel for you has gone beyond simple attraction. It is moving closer to a form of emotional attachment that is starting to take shape deep inside them. Attachment feels threatening to anyone who is afraid of losing personal control over their life and choices. Most people fail to notice this deeper process happening around them. The stronger the emotional current becomes, the more their mental defenses rise up to protect them. That is why, after they recognized their true feelings, they did not move forward right away. They paused, thought too much, and analyzed everything carefully from all sides. They overthought simple things that once felt completely natural, because those things now carried heavy importance and possible risk. Anything that carries real weight starts to feel like a potential danger to their freedom, to their sense of self, and to the personal image they have worked hard to build over many years. You do not fear things you do not value. This creates a contradiction that becomes impossible for them to ignore any longer. The very same feeling that pulls them closer is also pushing them back at the same time, creating constant inner tension that drains their energy. That tension follows them into every part of daily life without mercy. It enters ordinary moments that once felt normal, because now everything carries a quiet echo of you, even when it is not direct. Comment pressure if you have felt someone suppressing strong feelings for you. A certain tone of voice, a short pause, or a specific kind of silence can suddenly bring them back to thoughts of you in ways they did not choose. The deeper part of their mind holds on tighter because it does not follow any schedule they set. You have crossed an important line, which means you are no longer something optional in their thoughts or feelings. Now they must face the difficult question they have been avoiding for so long. Why you specifically, out of all possible people in the world? Why does your presence affect them in this unique and powerful way? The more they search for logical answers, the less sense it seems to make. This connection was never built on easy convenience or simple circumstances. It cannot be reduced to one basic reason alone. It comes from something much deeper, rooted in genuine recognition that feels both unchosen and impossible to avoid. If this connection is truly real, then it requires something from them, including action, openness, and personal vulnerability, which they have avoided for many years. So they try to delay and create more distance to slow down what is already speeding up inside their mind. But distance does not weaken a real emotional bond. It actually makes it stronger, because it removes all outside distractions. When those distractions disappear, only the pure truth remains. And that truth is growing louder and more powerful instead of fading with time. They feel this change clearly in how their thoughts keep returning to you without warning. They feel it in sudden emotions that rise up during the day. They feel it in the way something deep inside refuses to become calm, no matter how much effort they put into controlling it. Pushing things down keeps failing them over and over again. Real tension is now taking hold because they are fully aware of the feelings, yet still resist them every day. They sense the truth, yet keep questioning it. They recognize its power, yet avoid carrying its full weight. This creates ongoing inner pressure that never fully goes away. It keeps building and tightening until something has to give eventually. They are not only fighting against the feeling itself, they are also struggling with what that feeling reveals about their own hidden needs and fears. What they feel for you exposes a deep craving to connect with someone meaningful, the longing to be truly understood, and the fear of letting themselves be affected so strongly by another person. Being affected deeply means opening up to vulnerability, and vulnerability requires giving up some control, which makes them very uncomfortable inside. So they keep moving back and forth between leaning closer emotionally and then pulling away for safety. One moment they imagine positive possibilities for the future. The next, they tell themselves it is too complicated or risky. This back and forth is not random. It serves as a kind of protective shield. It lets them experience the feelings without completely giving into them all at once. But you cannot experience something this meaningful in a half-hearted way forever. You can only delay facing it fully for so long. And every delay comes with its own cost that must eventually be paid. Pushed-down emotions do not vanish without a trace. They turn into inner tension, restlessness, and constant mental noise that is hard to quiet even with effort. Lately, that noise has grown much stronger and more persistent for them. It now affects not only their emotions, but also their thinking patterns, daily behavior, and even physical ways they notice in themselves. Sometimes you can see it in their reduced focus, their shifting moods, and their strong reactions to unrelated things. Suddenly, an unresolved truth is rising up from deep inside, and it demands something they are not fully ready to offer yet. Type yes if you want me to expose how their deeper mind keeps pulling them back to you. They are closer to their personal breaking point than they want to believe right now. Something important is starting to crack inside them deeply. Not on the outside, where they keep a calm appearance with practiced effort every day. The real change is happening underneath, where the mind stops pretending and where truth exists without needing any approval. Pushing feelings down always carries a hidden cost, and that cost is now becoming due. The longer someone suppresses something genuine, the more powerfully it returns with greater force than before. What once felt easy to manage now feels intrusive and demanding. What felt far away now feels close and immediate. What could be denied before now feels completely undeniable. When the deeper mind can no longer stay contained quietly, it does not bargain gently. It breaks through in raw and unexpected ways. It appears in sudden reactions, increased irritability, and in how small issues cause unusually strong frustration for no clear reason. Their ability to concentrate disappears the moment thoughts of you enter their mind without invitation. You are no longer just another person who exists in their outer life. You have become someone living inside their private inner world. And that difference changes everything. External things can be avoided, set aside, or replaced without much trouble. But inner realities follow a person into every quiet moment, into sleep, and into spaces they thought belonged only to themselves. Their resistance is beginning to weaken because the main question has changed for them. It is no longer whether they feel something real. That part is already clear without doubt. The new question is what they are going to do about these strong feelings that refuse to leave. And that is the question that frightens them most. Because taking action means possible exposure and vulnerability, which means giving up some control they value highly. Most people spend their whole lives trying to avoid exactly this kind of moment.